What's up, guys? It's Tasha B here.
And Taylor D here, too, with How to Be Real podcast on Radio Soul.
Here at the Soul Collective. I know Corey Head is in the way.
Right.
We are at Soul Collective.
Right. This is our wonderful guest, Corey Brown. He is a hairstylist. He just separated from his salon that he was working at to become an independent hairstylist and business owner. So we're going to be talking to him today about a few topics. Tasha, why don't you let us know where to start?
Yeah, just a little shout out to Corey. He's the one that cut my hair and got it looking all luscious right now. So if you got curls, and even if you don't got curls, but if you got curls, Corey's the man that you need to see.
He cuts your hair curly.
He cuts it curly. He don't straighten it. And
that's crazy.
He didn't even wet mine when he cut it. Look at it.
Bars.
Just freaking bars. Anyway,
Thank you.
So on to what we're talking about today. We're talking about, to start us off, what happened here in Sacramento. Now, I mean,
on the Capitol grounds,
drama happens, but never anything of this magnitude. And I'm sure you guys have heard about what happened at the Capitol this weekend with the Nazis and, of course, the people out there protesting, trying to get that stuff to cut that out, you know? So basically what happened was this Nazi group of people, they got a permit.
Parties.
They got a permit. They were legally permitted to be on the premises rallying and spreading hate and talking about exterminating people or whatever. So news gets out about this, right, weeks ago. And of course, as soon as news gets out about it, protesters are out. Like, hey, we're going to be there and we're going to shut this down.
Anti-fascist protesters.
Exactly. So all, there's a whole bunch of animosity kind of, not very blasted animosity, but there is animosity about people talking about, hey, we need to shut this down. This is not going to happen in our community. Made everyone feel all weird. Right. So then the time comes for the protest, and 3 hours before it's even supposed to start, the Nazi rally that is, the protesters are out there, and they're out, and they're loud, and they've got posters. 9 a.m. on the dot, they're there.
They're ready and
protesting.
Right. And the leader of BAM, which is By Any Means Necessary, BAMN, she was the leader of the counter protest. She's the one who was like one of the main parties there who was trying to shut down, or not trying, who shut down the Nazi rally.
She shut it down.
Yeah, she definitely did. And she said that they were a proactive militant action group.
Yep.
That every time they saw a neo-Nazi or somebody representing what they stood for, they are supposed to go out and actively attack them.
Yes.
Because they're saying that freedom of speech, yes, they have freedom of speech, and yes, they have the freedom of action, but they feel like their violent speech, what they're saying, you know what I mean? Like talking about exterminating other races, other people, being the cleansed race, you know what I mean? The WASP, anybody who did not fit into the WASP category of people, they need to go. And that rally was meant to recruit people. That rally was meant to talk about
and pull people out of the darkness.
Exactly.
About who are racist like that. And I mean, say what you want, to me, it's just really racist. To hate a certain group of people for their beliefs, their sexual orientation, the color of their skin, all that stuff is just crazy.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So Corey, what do you think about this whole situation? Like, had you heard about this before just now?
I was on Facebook, I believe, and I saw it trending. And for it to be trending on Facebook is pretty much the whole world can see it.
Yeah.
So what I was glad about was that there was not a big turnout for the neo-Nazis.
Yeah.
So
about 50 people.
That was a good thing.
Right.
So Sacramento's a pretty safe place to live, I guess you could say.
I mean, I feel like, okay, so there were 10 critical injuries.
Yes.
People there was 5 stabbings and 5 people who were injured in probably beatings or something else. Really crazy and scary. I don't know if any of you have seen the videos.
Yeah, they had bats, they had 2x4s, they had flagpoles, they were using any and everything.
I saw the pictures with the 2x4s too.
It was
scary.
It was really scary to see. The clips are crazy. If you go on Facebook, like Corey said, it was trending. So if you search anything Sacramento, Capitol, it'll pop up. Trust me.
Yeah. I just feel like they're like what we were talking to Andrew Andrew, one of the many, many
Andrew
faces
the
of Soul
Fae,
Collective,
shout out,
and
yo.
ZFG, baby. Zero Forbidden Goals. Look it up. You'll be happy you did. But we were talking to him, and he said that he believes that there were people out there who were implanted to just instigate. They didn't really represent any group. You know, they were just there to fight. It didn't matter what side.
To escalate it from it being you guys protesting what you guys are talking about to now it's these people against these people.
Right.
Which it seems like the media does all the time. You know what I mean? Even when it's just something that happens in the news, they turn it into, oh, this versus this. Team this, team that. Team gorilla, team little boy. You know what I mean? Like they can turn anything into a fight. And that it seems like, you know, I don't know if it's 100% true, but it would make a lot of sense because why? For one, I seen that there was a lot of police there on the scene. There was highway patrol people. There was cops on horses. There was bicycle cops. There was a whole bunch of bodies with badges there. But when you look at the videos of the actual violence taking place, I didn't see not one cop. And if I did see a cop, he wasn't doing anything. He was standing there.
Waiting, you know what I mean? Waiting to intervene until it got too bloody. You know what I mean? Too violent. Until
someone's bleeding out on the floor. Then they're like, oh, hey, you know what I mean? Ambulance.
And from the footage that I saw, the cops were trying to, they were blocking off, there was a person that was stabbed on the ground, and they were blocking off their friends and family from coming to, like, see them. And I was...
to see if they're okay.
I was kind of confused about that.
Yeah. So it makes you really, I don't know, it makes you really wonder what role were the cops playing in this whole thing. Because like Andrew was saying earlier, when it's a police brutality march, when it's something against that, the cops are there and they're making arrests. When you're protesting the brutality against the homeless people and how they're trying to treat them like garbage.
Maced for just
talking,
for
doing sit-ins at Sac State because of the high tuition fees. People are getting maced.
And
people
they didn't even punch anyone.
Exactly. And there's no violence going on. Exactly. And then in this situation where there is really blood being shed, no arrests are made. No one's getting tackled to the ground. There's no cops, no action from them whatsoever.
There haven't been any published arrests yet. Like no news source, no articles, no newspaper knows about any arrests that have been made yet.
And it's just crazy because...
I checked it this morning and the same. It was the same.
What do you think about that?
About the whole situation?
I guess the whole situation
about the cops' role.
Arrest.
Or the little role that they played.
Yeah.
From what I saw, the cops they looked like they were scared. They didn't know what was going on. And I understand a cop's position is to serve and protect. But I don't feel like the people who were attacked felt protected at all. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of confusion. And I don't want to say anything against police, but we have to hold them accountable because, you know, they're trying to do their job the best way they can.
It's just like...
It's a sticky situation. You can't really... You don't want to point the finger at all cops because all cops aren't bad. There are some good
you want
cops.
to generalize.
So when you generalize it, you want to point... They're cops, they're detectives, and there are race soldiers. There's people who are upholding
race soldiers,
white supremacy.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah.
So
I saw a lot of people kind of like a lot of the police kind of standing back a little, just kind of observing, like you said, but also protecting the group, the neo-Nazi the rallying group as they walked up. Because I mean, let's talk about it. Freedom of speech, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so everybody always wants to say, oh, you're taking away their freedom of speech. You took away my freedom of speech and that. And yes, that is one of the most important things. One of the biggest rights that we have as human beings is to say what we feel, what's on our mind. So, okay, I see it. You know, yeah, you got your permit approved, especially if you got your rally permit approved. Okay. You know, you're not going to just say, all right, well, we got it approved, but maybe this freedom of speech is using violence. You know, maybe I'm using my freedom of speach. I'm manipulating my freedom of speech. You know, I'm using it to
or exploiting
spew
it,
hate.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. I'm using it to spew hate and to try and pump people up to exterminate others who aren't like me. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, so on one hand, I kind of feel like, all right, I see that side of it. I see the freedom of speech, like, okay, you shouldn't go out and actively attack people who are trying to speak their mind. I see that. But then on the other hand, it's like, okay, how big does it have to grow to become a real problem and a real threat? And I saw in one of the comments, somebody said, you either stop them now or you stop them later. And it's like...
And it's harder later. Yeah. Like the lady said, we got to stop it early. And then with anything that you want to stop, like a tumor, for instance, when it's huge and the size of a freaking watermelon, it's going to be a lot harder to get rid of that tumor than it would be if you catch it when it's the size of a little pea or something. Right. You know, it makes it easier. Right. So instead of, you know, trying to stop a rally of 1,000 Nazis, when it's 50 people, 50 maybe, you know, they expected 50 people. I don't even know if 50 people showed up. And they're trying to recruit people. Stop them now. Show them that, you know what? No, this is not the place you come to recruit people to try to kill other people of other races. This is not what you do. This is not the place. We here in Sacramento are not going to tolerate you guys coming here.
Right. I mean, I see the point that the leader of BAM was making, and all those counter protesters who showed up. I see the point that they're trying to make. But Corey, what do you think are like some other ways that they could have gone about it other than being using active militant action?
Basically violence.
Violence. AKA violence.
From my research, they could have got together, pulled their money together, found where the funding is coming from for the neo-Nazis, and actively, you know, pulled that money out. Yeah. White supremacy, it understands financial, you know, attacks and military attacks. And
so you're saying either hit him in the jaw or hit him in their wallet.
And you know, the first one was definitely more peaceful.
Yeah. But I feel like we would have to really be organized, all groups, you know what I mean? Like you having that idea, because I don't know how to go about that. I don't know how to go and take money from them. You know what I mean? Like, or in a legal way, you know?
And that'll cause violence. You take somebody's money, they might come after you.
So I feel like if we had organizations, people to like collectively gather and really be able to say, okay, look, this is how you do it, like to teach, you know what I mean? Teach us like knowledgeable, peaceful actions. I feel like until somebody comes out and is really willing, just like how that leader of BAM was really willing to go out and actively fight, there needs to be protesters and organizations who are willing to actively get together, learn, teach each other, and actively peace, you know, on those kinds of groups. So I don't know. It's like,
well, one way you can do it is, you know, these people don't like you. They're doing protests against you. You could just say, we're not going to spend our money with you. Just have me, Taylor, Tasha. We're gonna spend our money with people who look like us, think like us, and that's it.
Shut all those other corporations down.
Spend your dollar.
Yeah.
Take that power away.
Yeah, when you get paid,
you all got that power.
Rotate your dollar at least 8 to 12 times in your own community.
Yes. Love that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you. So I know you're not originally from Sacramento.
Right.
Where are you from again? East Coast, right?
Yeah, from the District of Columbia.
Okay, he's from
DC.
So how do you think
DC
something like this would go down in DC?
It's not gonna happen.
It's not.
It's not gonna happen.
So what do you mean, the Nazi rally in itself, or just the whole melee?
They wouldn't have been able to get there. I'm sorry.
He said they would not have been able to get there.
It's not gonna fly.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it happening in DC at all.
It's too political there.
It's a very political based city, and the people, it's majority people of color, and it's not.
Yeah, it would have been like Trump's rally in Chicago.
Right. Shut it down.
Shut it down.
Like the rioting in what was that, Baltimore? Right after that. Yeah. No. We too organized, militant. It's not.
It's not gonna happen.
Our mind state is a little bit different than the rest of the world. We don't tolerate that kind of stuff. So.
Man, so speaking of not tolerating stuff, Jesse Williams.
First of all, shout out to you. My favorite part is when he says the brother's gonna be better for the sisters.
Yeah.
That's what needs to be said for sure. And not even just black men and women. It's just men and women, period.
Yeah.
We got to do better by each other, you know? So, I mean, that was definitely something. But the police brutality aspect.
Man, Jesse Williams. Okay, so for those who are living under a rock and don't know about Jesse Williams' speech at the BET Awards 2016.
Also trending on Facebook.
Also trending on Facebook. Freaking
Check the
Twitter.
trends. Check the trends.
Right. Freaking anywhere that it can trend, it's been trending. He straight up made what they are now calling one of the most historical African American speeches of this millennium.
Yeah, it was.
At an award show.
At an award show,
BET
at an all-black
Awards.
award show. You know what I mean? Or not all-black, but it is celebrating a lot of
Did you
black
guys
artists.
hear that the BET Awards was shown on Nickelodeon?
Yeah.
I did!
And
I
that's
thought
why
it was
a
an
lot
accident or
of people
something.
Yeah.
got really upset about
It
that.
said it
Yeah.
had
I mean-
7.2 million viewers.
Some kind of
The
crazy
universe has a
broadcasting
plan. That's all I'm
accident.
saying. The universe has a plan.
Okay, so this young brother, he accepted his award and broke down what's going on with
He got the
police
humanitarian
brutality.
award. Just
Yes,
to
yes.
let you know.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tosh.
He is a humanitarian.
He broke down the struggles of being a black person, a person of color in the media, in today's society, in corporate America.
The music industry.
The music industry.
He broke it
yes.
down. Just
He broke it down. He broke down the struggles. He broke down the police brutality, how big of an issue it is.
still is.
Still
not
is.
over.
Right. He was really, I don't know. I feel like everybody knows it, but nobody's said it.
Yep.
Like, I mean, not on a platform like that. Like,
Yes.
it's like, okay, Beyonce, okay, Kendrick, like y'all, you know, spitting it with your songs and your poems
But
and your
he
metaphors.
said it plain and clear as day.
Okay.
Yeah.
No pun intended, but black and white.
And as a black man, how did that make you feel?
I was proud. He follows me on social media.
What? Corey, though.
Yeah, that's
You should follow him too. He's cool.
Right, what's your handle, real quick?
Shabazz Pizzazz. That's what it is.
Shabazz Pizzazz. It rhymes.
Two Z's at the end of
Z's.
each?
2 Z's at the end of
Shabazz.
each. One word.
Okay.
Word.
But it made me feel really. It made me feel not afraid anymore.
That is
Because a
important.
lot of people are scared, and you don't have to be scared anymore. It's not a time to be scared to speak your mind.
Ooh, Corey. It's so
And-
true.
What he said was just the fact that he said it to the audience that he said it to, which were pretty much predominantly wealthy black people.
Which is where we need it.
He said it to the industry.
Yeah, he said
That's
it to
where
them.
Like,
we
you know?
need it.
Yeah. And so I played it over and over. Like the second, third time, I was looking for people who were sitting down, who weren't really clapping. I was like, let me see who's not on board. Let me stop spending my money with them.
Right. No, for real. Let me stop listening to his
Yeah.
music. Because why
For
are you
real.
sitting down, brother?
I saw
Right.
DJ Khaled on his phone. He was in the front row too. He just wasn't even paying attention the whole time.
Maybe he was tweeting about it.
Maybe.
You know,
I don't
DJ
know. I
Khaled
haven't
be
checked
on
his
Snapchat.
tweets, so he could have
Maybe.
been.
I'm gonna have to look at that again. But
Right. Again, one of those things where it's like you
Yeah.
need to be listening, get off that phone and listen to real life, but it's okay. No,
So he
be on that
did
damn phone all the time.
Right. So he did catch, obviously flack. There was white people calling him racist, white people saying that the fact that it was shown on Nickelodeon was
Wow.
racist, as you want the kids to be racist and blah, blah, blah,
No.
blah, blah. But one of the
No.
main controversies surrounding it, well, I don't know if it was one of the main ones, but one of the ones that was like really prevalent on my timeline was Justin Timberlake.
Right, and I haven't heard about this, so
So did you
Spill.
hear about it, Corey? So
Okay.
basically,
In the
Justin
dark.
Timberlake's tweets. I was inspired by at Jesse Williams' speech. We are all one race, the human race. Whatever, which is fine. You know what I mean? But then people, of course, Black Twitter had to come in there and give their two pieces,
Right.
and they were basically saying, you missed the whole dang point of what he was saying. And what he was saying was he was talking about, like you said, the struggles of being a person of color. And they were saying for him to say we're all one race is kind of the opposite of what Jesse was trying to talk about, which he has his own way of saying how he feels. And so there's two sides. Maybe he could be saying he's inspired by it because he can feel it as though he's a person of color, maybe that, or maybe he did just miss the whole
That's
thing
a
and
good-
he's just tweeting about it blindly. Maybe he didn't even listen to the thing. You know what I mean? Who knows?
Well,
Because he
I
didn't
mean-
get an invite this year.
I was gonna say JT he's been, I feel like for the past, 15 years that he's been in the game, he's been invited to the cookout. You know what I mean? He's been at the cookout a few times. And I feel like...
Not my cookout.
He's like,
let him know, Corey. Not my cookout.
He's been invited to some cookouts.
But they were saying that, like, even though he is widely accepted, he still has that colorblind feature to him, you know, where he kind of doesn't, he's like, I listen to the music, I'm here with the culture, but I don't see color, you know what I mean? So
and it's
how could you be both?
Don't say you, and that's something that I never really favored, was people saying, I'm colorblind. Okay, we don't need you to be colorblind, you know, we need you to see everyone as for what they are, see yourself as for what you are, accept whatever privilege that you do have, you know, whether it be as a white person or a light-skinned person or a dark brown person, you know, like it, whatever your smarts, any of it, whatever stigmas you get, you need to embrace all of that so that we can see each other as beautiful, like learn from each other. You know, that's what living on this earth is
and
about.
Acknowledge each other.
And acknowledging
don't
those
suppress
differences.
another person because they're not, you know what I mean? Like, don't sit here and say, like, oh, your curly natural hair, that's unprofessional. You need to tie it up in a bun so it looks more like Becky's.
Yeah,
like,
no, my hair's not Becky's.
It's and it's never going to be Becky's.
And it's never going
It's
to.
not. So, you know what I mean? Instead of setting one standard and saying everyone has to live by this, accept that there are other cultures. Accept that there are women who wear bendies. Accept that there are women who do certain things differently than you. Accept that. And just say, you know what? I'm not colorblind. I understand that you are you and I am me, but there is no reason that I have to treat you differently because of that.
Right.
You know what I mean? We all can still be respected, give respect, and get respect.
And understand that there's differences and love those differences.
So Black
about
Twitter
each other.
was angry. And so in response to a particular person who said, this is what the person said. They were like, so are you going to stop appropriating our culture and apologize to Janet? And he said back, he said, oh, you poor sweet soul, or something like that. When you finally accept the fact that we are all one, we can have a conversation.
Justin Timberlake said
yes,
that?
that was his response to the person saying, you know, stop appropriating our culture and apologize to Janet.
We got to reach a point where you don't have to erase who I am in order for you to see me as a human being.
Exactly.
We don't have to be, you know, all one until you see me as not a human.
Just like how he said, just because we're magic doesn't make us not real, or what?
Yeah, just because we're magic don't mean we not real.
Yeah. I mean,
black people are magic. Everything we
do,
but
we're real people, though.
Amazing. Yeah, but we're real.
We're real. And one thing that do you guys know the comedian Trevor Noah?
Yeah,
he's from Africa, but he's mixed.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how in Africa, even in Africa, people want to be a Black American.
Yeah.
Africans are like, oh, I want to be Black, because they don't call each other Black in Africa.
Yeah.
We're the people that are Black. And he was like, everyone even there, like, hear our music and they see our music videos and our movies, and they're like, oh my God, I want to be Black, and like wanted to be Black. He tried so hard, and it's just like, it's shown that even through all of the struggle that we faced here, that we turned nothing. We turned the worst circumstance into something that everybody still envies. You know what I mean? It's still something that's like, oh, wow, we tried to break y'all down. We put crack in your neighborhoods. We tore you down. We spread your families apart. And here you guys are still... Here we are still looking at you guys wishing we had what you had. Still trying to be like you. Why are we trying to be like you?
Yeah.
It's something about us.
Yeah,
it's something we pretty much dictate the way that the world moves.
And what's cool.
And what's cool.
Definitely what's trendy,
you
know? what's hot.
What's popping, what's lit, you know?
Right.
The lingo, the music, the ideas, everything, you know.
Right.
The fashion, all that.
Justin Timberlake's comment reminds me of like all those arguments that you hear about the all lives matter versus Black Lives Matter. I feel like Jesse Williams was trying to be like, Black Lives Matter, people, and speaking it to his large group of Black people also really like hits another chord, because it's like, okay, yes, Jesse, he was talking about police brutality, and then there's also the other fact of, okay, there's more Black on Black deaths related crimes than there are police on Black related
That's one of the
crimes.
main points that he made, that we gotta change from within too, like, you know, they wrong, but look what we doing to ourselves. Once we fix that, then we can tackle You know that, and
Yeah.
who knows? That might even stop. They might get scared as soon as we stop as soon as we stop fighting each other and turn and look at who's really pulling the trigger. You know what I mean?
Right. And what was the quote that you said, or the tweet that you saw, or the meme about what people, if you know, like how many police related deaths?
But yeah, somebody
I don't know.
on Facebook posted a status, and she was like, well, how close is it to you? Police brutality, death. Like, how many people do you personally know that have been killed by a police officer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, think about that. And then think about how many people do you know personally who have been affected by black on black violence. And that number is way larger than a police brutality. And it's way closer to you. It might be like, someone in my community was killed by a cop. Yeah. But my cousin was killed by somebody off the street.
Right.
One of his homies or ex-homies or who knows, you know what I mean? A rival gang member, that type of stuff. And it's senseless.
Right. And it's just like, that meme that you saw on Facebook, what it said really just put that whole thing into perspective for me. And like, I want to share it with others, like I feel like it kind of will help put it into perspective for others. Like, okay, yes, because I do know somebody, I know plenty of people who have been affected by a black on black crime,
Yeah.
And it's like, I want to start being more active in my community so that we can build up and lift up. Yeah. And we do need to start organizing more so that we can, like how Salvin was saying, we need to like stop seeing each other only when it needs to be seen.
Exactly. Stop having forced interactions.
Right.
I mean, don't stop the forced interactions because we need that too.
Right.
But definitely work on the more social interactions.
Right. Become truly more social with each other.
And get connected to each other on a level to where it don't seem like someone that's living right next door to you is an outsider. It should never feel like that, so.
And another thing on black crime, when you're in Russia and Russians are killing each other, you don't say Russian on Russian crime.
Right.
Crime is relative to where you are, and a lot of times it has to do with economic deprivation. Yeah. A lot of people in the hood are, they don't have much. They're struggling, they already stressed out. The food that they're eating is not good, and where are these guns coming from?
Soul food is not.
Where are they getting these guns from?
Yeah, it's a lot of different factors. Like when you think about where all the drugs coming from,
right?
Where the drugs coming
from,
and
the mental health and within the communities.
Yeah,
right. But that is a very good example. But I also think that it kind of proves that when people like us, when we get out of the communities we've been in, or when people finally are able to move out of their hood or their ghetto, you know what I mean, and they don't really come back to like feed what they've learned and feed how they were able to clear their mind, you know what I mean, and how they were able to change their eating habits and really live, because you can eat really good on a budget. Like you don't really have to be balling out.
The market is not that expensive,
right? You don't have to be balling out to eat
Trader Joe's sometimes has better prices than Walmart.
Right. Freaking Winco has organic recipes. When you go to the
it's about to open
bulk
up the street
section,
from my house. I'm so excited.
When you go to the bulk section, look at all the recipes that they have, and they'll give you all types of little gluten-free options and all kinds of stuff.
Costco has some really good food. Like their stuff, like Costco's really good about not stopping selling something when they realize something's wrong with it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like those halos, they stopped selling those because they found out that halos are actually cultivated with runoff water. Well, not really runoff water. It's purified, but it's gas station water. It's Chevron water. So it's like, okay, they filter it, but do you trust that? Because there's nobody regulating it. The farmers say that it's not their responsibility to regulate it, and the people who are selling it to the farmers say it's not their responsibility. So it's kind of like nobody's really doing it.
The responsibility.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, it could be cool, but you never.
Yeah.
Right.
You eat a halo, you're gonna get a halo.
Right.
Exactly. No, for real.
But yeah, we just have to continue to doing what we're doing. Continue to believing that we have the power to stop what's going on. We have the power to create a whole new world, a whole new society for where our children are going to grow up in, you know what I mean? Like, and to stop trying to be like, oh, I have no control over this. I have no control. All right, you might not have control over what, you know, freaking Barack Obama is doing or the next president is doing, but you do have control over where you spend your money, like you
and
said,
your community,
what you do in your community, how you uplift your people, you know what I mean, whoever your people are, you know. And yeah, I think that you need to do this damn thing.
No, and I think one thing that also Salvin was talking about today is again what you were touching on is the youth. He said a young person approached him and said, you know, there's a lot of violence going on in Sacramento, and he was like, what are y'all doing? Y'all are the big homies, you know what I mean? You guys, and you know, it's crazy as a 90s baby, you know, I'm 22 now. It's crazy to be the big homie. I've never been the big homie before. We're all young, you know what I mean? We're in our 20s and we are the big homies. I remember looking at people in their 20s and thinking, dang, big cousin, what's up? You know what I mean? Like, you're hecka grown. You're living it. You're doing it. You know what I mean? And you see your cousin pull up in their car and you not knowing that your cousin is still feeling kind of like a little homie. But, you know, I'm still trying to get through life.
How do you feel about that, Corey? Because you're like in your early 30s, right?
Yeah, I'm in my 30s.
So how do you feel? Do you feel big?
Technically, I'm still a teenager,
right?
In black years. So, yeah, I prefer to do one-on-one kind of. You know, if I see somebody who needs it or they approach me, you know, I'm pretty open. Whatever you need, man, I got you.
Yeah.
Get it shirt off my back. So.
Right? Did it feel weird transitioning into like being the OG of the crew or whatever? Or did you ever hang around people who were like younger than you?
No, most of the people I hang around were pretty much older than me, so.
Oh, so you were
so you still the little homie.
Right, so you.
No, I was pretty much the OG in the group.
What? Oh, you're like the mental OG.
Yeah, like call me the mastermind.
But what's important is passing that stuff on, because, you know, we're smart. And I mean, you know, whether it be book smart or street smart or just life smart, because there's a lot that life teaches you in the times, especially the times that we are. I feel like every year a different lesson is learned, you know what I mean? Stuff about yourself, stuff about what's going on. You learn some real stuff that might mentally fuck you up for a minute. And so I just think like it's important for, you know, people like us to talk to the youth, you know what I mean? To, you know, even if it's just, okay, I'm going to make it a point to, you know, I know there's some young people that follow me on Facebook or Instagram. I'm going to make it a point to kind of put some real stuff on there and talk about some real stuff. You know?
Exactly.
So, you know, it's important. And then also one thing that could really help the youth is something that you just transitioned, and that's going from being an employee to being a businessman, you know, to being your own business. Like, tell us about that. Like, what was that transition like?
I don't think it was deliberate. It was just a matter of sometimes life pushes you in a direction where you just need to go. And I kept getting the same kind of treatment. I'm trying to be diplomatic because I'm from DC. The same treatment as a black man in the hair industry. It was very hard.
Well, tell us some of the stigmas that come with being a black male in the hair industry.
What's
like,
that
what
like?
did you have to face? Like, what do people automatically think of you off top?
Or assume.
Exactly.
It's not that. It's just in the hair industry, there's a lot of ego. And they can't even hear themselves talk most of the time. They're just talking and doing and not trying to learn. They say they want to learn, but not. You can't hear yourself.
Yeah,
you know?
It's kind of that I accept criticism well, and as soon as you say, hey,
they come in, I'm the best, and you have to have that kind of energy. Right. You have to believe that you're the best, but don't be obnoxious.
Right.
Be kind to people. You know, respect people and treat people good. You know, and
did you face like what's like one of the craziest experiences you had transitioning from like, you know, okay, I'm a little over being in the
one of them
working
push
for somebody
situations.
else.
What was one
right,
of those
exactly.
where you like, you know what, I'm being pushed.
Right, I'm gonna work for myself pretty soon. Right. What's one of those situations?
Well, I'm not trying to call anybody out.
We gotta say names.
Right.
You're right. I worked extremely hard. People were saying, "Oh my God, your work is so good. It's so great." I was getting kudos, but I wasn't getting paid. Period. I wasn't getting paid at all. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. Because
because you can't eat kudos.
I don't want to.
You can't pay your bills with kudos.
Okay.
You know,
Can't buy
if somebody's
babies
saying, "Oh
kudos.
my God, that was the greatest experience I've ever had," and you go, "Okay, that's good," but you don't get paid, it kind of makes you. Wait a minute. If that was the best, you would at least.
Exactly.
You would at least
Very
pay me.
contradictory.
Yeah.
You know.
You know.
So you had to kind of go through. Oh, go ahead.
So that was tough, and I thought that because I was working for people who said they had my back, that they really had my back. But you know, you have to cross your T's and dot your I's in this business. I'm trying to not point any fingers at anybody because
Right. I mean, of course, you had to make this move for yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, you transitioned into being a business owner for you. It's
Yeah.
not about anybody else.
and I should have done this a long time ago, man. But you know, everything's in due time. So.
Yeah, I mean, and you learned, you know. So
Yeah.
now, when you get to a point where you can open your own salon,
Right.
you know exactly what to look for and what you don't want in
Yeah.
your salon. So
Right.
it's stuff like that that really helps you.
And I never wanted to open my own salon, but I know how to build a team. I know how to put a team together now.
What to look for.
Yeah.
Right. So tell us about like what your goal is for now that you're on your own. You know, now that you broke through the system.
What's the next step?
Yeah. What's the next step for Corey Brown?
The next step is to, well, I'm gonna give some tips. I wrote some
Oh yeah.
some stuff down
Please
course.
hook us up with hair tips.
on how to
Loosen
just
up,
be
curls.
more productive as far as conducting business.
Okay. Sorry.
Oh, is that how much time we have left? Or? Oh. Well, I don't know if we have time, but
Yeah. No.
Oh, we
Please
do?
tell
Okay.
us about your tips.
well, to manage your time better, instead of doing things in half hour or hour increments, you should count your minutes. You know, say I'm gonna do this in the next 5 or 10 minutes. If it's something you can do in 5 or 10 minutes, like a text or responding to somebody's email or a call, just do it. Procrastination is like
Worse than
It really is.
you got to plan for your future self's procrastination because you know, for me personally, I know myself, I'll be like, oh, you know, I'm gonna do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, and tomorrow I'm gonna say, oh, you know, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. So do it right now.
Right.
You know, and you have, what is it, 1,440 minutes a day, and that's a lot of minutes when you think about
a
it.
lot of
So just take advantage. You know, that's key.
Definitely.
What else is? Writing your schedule on your calendar instead of making a list, because they say that 40% of your list doesn't get done. So when you do it on the calendar, you're saying I'm going to do it at this date and time, and when you see the calendar or you know, technology, your phone or whatever, yeah,
Right. Like, hey, this is
yeah,
coming up.
you plan to get it done faster that way. So
I like that. I like both of those. Those are awesome, Corey. So, like, how are you gonna, like, what is your next project coming up? Like, what are you planning on doing now?
now I'm doing my clients door to door. They call me. I show up at their house. I do their hair. It's really wonderful. Sometimes they feed me.
Hey.
Get drinks.
More than one way to compensate.
Yeah.
Right. So, if somebody wants to get their hair just looking fantastic, get their curls whipped and dipped, how can they contact you, reach you, and set up an appointment?
Oh, call me. I'm that approachable. You call me. My number is 916-517-0442.
Boom. All right.
And
And I answer better to text.
So how can they
Text,
see your
please.
work? Like, where can we see, you know, besides, you know, right on here?
My work.
Right.
Well, my website is still under development, so give me about a week or two.
Okay. Do you have, like, work on your
Make it
Instagram or Facebook or anything?
Instagram, I fell out of love with Instagram. It's just,
It happens to the best.
it's just, it's so fake. I just, you know.
You're like, I'm just over it.
So are you on, like, Facebook or?
Yeah, Facebook.
Okay,
I'm on
so
Facebook.
That's where we can find
Corey
Mr.
Brown.
Corey. And so you're just
And
Corey Brown on there?
I'm Shabazz Pizzazz on all social media
So on all
platforms.
social handles, Shabazz Pizzazz.
That's where you can find me.
Pizzazz,
And then when
Snapchat.
you do get that website, you can go ahead and, I don't know, make a Facebook status and we can repost it for you. You know, we help each other out here.
Yeah.
How to be real. And that goes for everybody.
Yes.
If you want us to shout you out, if you want us to
Awesome.
post you up, you know,
Right.
let us know, contact us. We're always open to promote
Yes.
our community. Just
Definitely.
everyone, you know, everybody who's trying to do something positive or even just, you know, start their own business. We're here for
Exactly.
that.
Yes, reach out. We're at howtobereal.wordpress.com and we just revamped our website. So go
Revamp.
visit, check out.
New
let us know
articles
what you
coming
think.
shortly, actually, in
Yes.
the next like 15 minutes.
Exactly. Yes. So check those out. They're really related to a couple of the topics that we were talking about today. Mine is going to be called "It's Okay to Feel," and Tasha's, what was yours going to be called?
Mine is called Just Thinking.
Just thinking.
Just thinking.
So boom. So we will see you shortly at the next podcast episode. Also at HWTBRL, How to Be Real Without the Vowels. I'm at JustSay_Tay, as always.
And I'm Tasha B, 2 A's, 3 E's.
Yes. Hey, so join us next time on Radio Soul for How to Be Real.
Nice.
Yeah.
Peace.
Thanks, Corey.
Thanks, Corey.
Thanks. No problem.
Y'all should keep talking, so y'all ever watch the movies and then like the
And they're just like,
music comes
Oh, yeah,
on,
they're just like,
and
anyway.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.